heading over to the spot, pick you up around 9. Meet me in the parking lot, never make it inside. We're getting out of here tonight. Yeah, we'll go anywhere you like. Yeah, 9/11, it's a heist. Stole my heart, gave me life. No, I'm right, baby. I don't get my type on, yeah. She 11 with the lights on, yeah. Bite my neck just like a python. Breathe it right into my lungs. I took a hit, it's a crib, she my medicine. Before it's all said and done, you precious for the neck that's gotta wipe you up. I'm heading over to the spot, pick you up around 9. Meet me in the parking lot, never make it inside. We're getting out of here tonight. Yeah, we'll go anywhere you like. I'm gonna break it. God lights, baby, I'm racing. Cause you're the only music I'm facing. You gon' leave my heart sedated, yeah. She just got it, but she wanted. Fell from heaven, she a weapon when she comes to me. I find it comforting. Though I'm blowing, she got me freezing, buffering, yeah. I sold the plans for your demands. I need the spare cash to pay my rent. I'm suffering, still caught in break me loose. Stay good news, baby. I'm heading over to the spot, pick you up around 9. Meet me in the parking lot, never make it inside. We're getting out of here tonight. Yeah, we'll go anywhere you like. I'm gonna break it. God lights, baby, I'm racing. Cause you're the only music I'm
AEW fans, beware because you're in for a scare. Or so we were told this past week on AEW Land. But hello, all you boo. Anyways, hello, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there. Welcome to another rendition of your AEW review show, otherwise known as the All Elite Ensemble.
Bleh.
As we take a crash course of everything that went down AEW this past week, from Dynamite to Rampage to Collision. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, also known as El Jefe around these WrestlePod parts. And, joining me in tonight's review here on the BC WrestlePod Twitch YouTube Conglomeration Network Syndicate is the one, the only, the two, and the twice, the youngest Alice alive, and just Adolfo for this evening.
It's me.
Yes, it is both of you. I am so happy to have you here. I am so excited. I really enjoyed AEW this past week, and I'm like,
yeah, this week was very enjoyable. It's like we're building up to a pay-per-view or something like that.
Right? One of the big pay-per-view. It's crazy, but everything makes sense for the most part. Nothing is really irritating me or making me mad. We had some returns, we had some debuts. We had our girl Thunder Rosa, who I'm so excited to talk about that match when we get there. When we get to completed. But if you are new here to BC WrestlePod, hi, hola, bienvenidos, konnichiwa, hello, ni hao, all you folks out there in the world. I am super excited to have you here. We're just a bunch of nerds that review wrestling. We cover pretty much all the basic stuff. You can follow us all over the social medias at BC WrestlePod. We have a YouTube, a Twitter, an Instagram, a TikTok. We're on Patreon. You can download the Next Level app to get all our social media. We also have a Cash App. We have a Venmo. We have PayPal. We have everything. We also have some merch. So make sure that you check, click the link below and check that out. More stuff is going to be added very, very soon, especially it's the holidays. So I cannot wait to do some Christmas inspired or holiday inspired theme, wrestling gear. Also, you may or may not see an ode to Miss Timeless Tony Storm in the near future. So it's going to be fun. I'm working on designs. But oh my goodness. But with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into the review because listen, we had a Dynamite Fright Night.
Fright Night Dynamite.
Fright Night Dynamite. And I give Dynamite a hard time because I'm like, half the time I like it, half the time I don't. The last couple of weeks I'm like, it's all right. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's because of one specific match, but I will say this is probably my favorite Dynamite that has happened within the last couple of weeks. Because the week before, I was like, Dynamite was pretty freaking mid. But this week was, I feel like they heard me. It's like, oh, watch this. We're going to do all the things. So,
Mikey, would you say that this week's Dynamite was, in fact, Dynamite?
It was Dynamite. Thank you for the setup, Alice. I love it. But speaking of setups, the BCC, we're setting up our expectations because we kicked off Fright Night Dynamite with this opening promo with BCC talking about, everything. We get a recap of what's been going on. And then I thought they made a mistake, but it turned out to be true because I'm like, why don't I hear Orange Cassidy yelling over this video that we're watching? I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Like Claudio speaking, and then Orange is like, no, turn that off. And then they paused at the right moment to make Claudio a meme. Thank you, AEW. But Orange Cassidy calls for the video to be turned off. He ringside. He cuts this amazing promo. It's the only way that Orange Cassidy knows how to deliver promos. Like just very even keeled. He's not yelling. He's not screaming. It's very impassioned. But I love this. Orange has had enough of BCC. He had to watch Chuck Taylor get his neck snapped from a chair from the previous week. And Orange, talks about the future of AEW and that, all these younger stars are here to kind of help fight for AEW. But Orange Cassidy says that they have no idea the danger they are in because of how young all these folks are. And so Orange is the only one who knows how dangerous Jon Moxley is. And, he says my favorite line in this whole thing. He says that if Mox has his way, there is no future for AEW. And Mox doesn't need AEW, but Orange does. There is no Orange Cassidy without AEW. There is no us as he, talks to the fans and all of this. And in order to save AEW, you have to cut the snake off, the head of the snake off. And Orange is going to do this alone. I'm like, Orange, no, don't be a hero. It never works out. But in order to keep the young talent and everybody else safe, Orange will go battle Moxley one-on-one. And he challenges Mox to an AEW World Championship match at Full Gear. And then, he comments that the symbol of this company is stuck in Moxley's bag, so he's going to take it from Moxley's bag and put it in Orange's backpack. I was like, there we go. And then Orange closes this promo by stating that, Mox, it's not hard to find me. I'll be here every week in this ring because I am freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, your next AEW World Champion, and I still don't need a catchphrase. And then he rolls out of the ring and that promo ends. I am so ready, and spoiler alert, later in the night and on social media, we get confirmation that it will be Mox versus Orange for the AEW World Championship at Full Gear in a couple of weeks. In 3 weeks, if I'm correct. Yeah, 3 weeks. Holy crap, this pay-per-view is coming fast.
Yeah.
So as the person who watches everything, but also covers Dynamite, Team A&A over here, how did we feel about Orange Cassidy, and are we excited for this match at Full Gear between him and Mox?
Go ahead.
I am excited for the match, but I hope he loses.
Who, Orange?
Yes, I hope
Me
Orange.
too.
Sorry, they're both he's. So I hope Orange loses because I think that's going to be more. I want there to be more tension. I want this to go a little bit longer. And I want him to realize that he can't do stuff by himself, that he should have a team and they should be working together. But I'm excited.
Yeah. Am I excited for the match at Full Gear? Yes. I can't lie and say that there's not little Adolfo inside of me that wants the babyface to win. You know, like I would definitely get the happy feels if Orange Cassidy wins. But you're right. For Orange Cassidy to make that statement that he's going to do it alone, that's almost like sinking the nail in the coffin that he is going to lose, just so that the story can progress from there. So that's that's my take.
Yeah, I think it'll be more dynamic and interesting storytelling if he loses.
It will, yeah. And then we can see the AEW Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, I would not be mad at that.
And it seems that we're kind of working our way through, because Orange is going to be facing, Mox and company alone for now. But we also see some other key players throughout the evening that are also taking down another big faction that's a pain in the butt for the locker room, which we will talk about in a bit. But we cut backstage with Renee as we catch her trying to interview Mercedes and Camille as they are walking in. Camille has a match tonight against Chris Statlander later on in the evening. And Renee tries to get some words, but Mercedes is not having it. And she tells Renee it's kind of dumb to ask who is going to win this match, in her opinion, because this is the Brick House Camille that is going to walk out victorious. Spoiler alert, she does not. And we'll talk about that when we get there. But the confidence was definitely here for this one. So then we cut back to ringside. Adam Cole, baby, music hits, and he walks out for the opening match. Now, for those of you who are keeping score at home, MJF threw down the challenge between Adam Cole and Roderick Strong that the first to get to 3 wins will earn a match against MJF, probably at Full Gear.
Classic MJF.
Of course, because we are bringing back the works of MJF shtick, in which somebody's got to go through the trials and tribulations before they get a match with MJF. Which then, once Adam Cole gets into the ring, Buddy Matthews heads down, and we get to our opening match of the evening, or the first match, which is Adam Cole versus Buddy Matthews. I'm just like, I thought this match was great. There was a point where I got worried, because then Adam Cole had to roll out of the ring, and I thought he busted an ankle again. I'm like, no! What did we talk about, Cole? You're not supposed to get hurt again. I was like, And so he was in front of commentary just shaking off the ankle. I was like, oh no, please don't do this to me. We can't have you hurt again. We just got you back. In hindsight, I think it was totally a work, but I'd never know.
Yep.
This match was really great. I enjoyed this. Buddy Matthews is fantastic. Adam Cole is fantastic. These two put on a hell of a match. And I love that Adam Cole leaves in the middle of the match, and then Buddy gets on the Matthews. It's like, don't be a coward. Get back here. And then Adam Cole comes back. They fight it out. And Adam Cole, baby, picks up the victory here. So the match itself, I thought, was fantastic. It was great. I'm sad that is number 1. I'm sad that House of Black is about to be cannon fodder in this Adam Cole, Roderick Strong thing. But hey, you know what? House of Black gets to be on TV.
Yeah. Are we convinced they're being cannon fodder?
I'm not convinced.
They joined the Undisputed Kingdom in a war against MJF and whoever.
Yeah, I will say it is interesting, especially with the scuttlebutt of the big contract that Buddy Matthews signed, and again, the scuttlebutt of he needs to. It's in his contract that he needs to win all matches. That he gets this L against Adam Cole, who, mind you, Adam Cole is one of the AEW superstars. But yeah, it's interesting that Buddy Matthews was the first choice, or the first win, I should say.
Yeah, it was really interesting. And so we'll get to that in a little bit, but it should be said that Kyle O'Reilly was watching this match happen. So I'm like, Kyle, what are we going about to do in this whole entire thing?
Yep.
But Adam Cole grabs the microphone afterwards. He thanks Buddy Matthews for reminding him who the real Adam Cole is. They shake hands between the two gents, but then the lights go out. Not gonna lie, my initial thing was like, oh, okay, Brody leaves next in the line, right? Nope, we just jump Brody because when the lights come back on, it is Malachi Black himself. I'm like, well, damn, we're just bypassing Brody here. Like, and then I'm thinking, oh, the final match is going to be Roddy versus Adam Cole, isn't it? That's what we're going to probably.
That's what I was thinking.
I was like, dang, that's going intense. But Malachi Black is in the ring. Adam Cole is actually kind of scared and then rolls out of the ring with, Doc Sampson helping him to the back. I was just like, I don't care what nobody says. I personally would love to see House of Black be utilized more. They are these monsters. Let's do something more with them. But I would be lying if I said that I was not excited for this match between these two next week. Malachi versus Adam Cole actually is going to slap.
Yeah.
And I am excited. Also, Malachi, I think, got some new ink on his head a little bit more, which I was like, yes, Malachi, bring me darkness. Love it. I'm excited. I think Malachi versus Adam Cole is going to be great because I am hoping it is just as good, if not better, than their NXT TakeOver match that they had when they were both in NXT, because that match was amazing. But I am super excited.
Yeah, as long as Adam Cole stays healthy, for lack of a better term, it's gonna be a great match.
It is. I'm super excited. This is gonna be fun. Quickly, we go backstage. Christopher Daniels is talking to Private Party. He acknowledges, him and Frankie Kazarian, SoCal Uncensored, when they faced for the tag titles and then they had a breakup, they lost, that they have to be ready, that's a possibility. Private Party promised that history's not going to repeat itself and that there are going to be new champs. And I was so worried leading into the match about this because I was like, AEW has pulled some shenanigans this year. Yep. I was ready for craziness. So we go to commercial. When we come back, we get the final piece of Adam Cole tonight where he cuts his promo while, he is on, Doc Sampson's bed with the Undisputed Kingdom and Roddy Strong in there. And he addresses MJF and what led to his betrayal last year. Cole talks about how much he likes and cares for AEW, what it means to him, that MJF has never been a part of that team. And Adam promises he's going to get his hands on MJF at Full Gear. And then maybe the Undisputed Kingdom as a whole unit will also do the same. 1 down, 2 to go. So next up, also shout out to the decor team for making Fright Night Dynamite entrance ramp have graves and everything. I love the campiness of it. But the reason I bring this up because Kyle Fletcher and Don Fallis enter the stage next. So we get this quick promo from Kyle Fletcher. He has something to say, and he's gonna address Will Ospreay face to face. So he calls out Will and says, and he introduces the Ariel Assassin, but Ospreay isn't here. Kyle starts to verbally run him down when, and I was not ready for this, the United Empire music hits. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi,
oi, oi.
And we get the returning in all his good cakiness glory. Mark Davis is back from injury.
Yes,
I am so excited. Listen, I love Aussie Open as a tag team. I love Kyle Fletcher. I love Mark Davis. But Mark Davis comes out with the microphone, Kyle's like, bro, I wasn't expecting to see you. Goes in for a hug, and Davis gives him the Heisman and just is like, no, and doesn't. Holds him at arm's length. And, Mark Davis refuses the hug. Mark Davis speaks, saying that I don't even know who you are anymore. Not as dramatic as that, but that's essentially what Mark Davis says.
Yep.
And, he drops the mic and leaves. And we finish this segment off with Kyle telling Mark Davis that there's going to come a day where he's going to have to make a hard decision, and that, he is not afraid, that Kyle Fletcher is not afraid to cut the pass loose. And I'm just like, we got Mark Davis back. He has now entered the story that is Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. United Empire is struggling to stay together at the seams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I'm messy. I love this. I'm so happy Mark Davis is back. He's been out for almost a whole entire year, and I am so happy that he is back. Whenever Kyle decides to turn back, I need Aussie Open to reunite as a tag team. Like, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how long they keep Protostar Kyle Fletcher a thing, because I mean it's a complete rework, and I personally like it, and I don't want to see any sort of rebrand on it, at least for a year.
I'm like, already?
Year and a half.
Nice.
I really, and I'm going to talk about it more on Collision, but I'm really digging this Protostar swagger.
I am too, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. And so next week, as we find out later from this week of AEW, that Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher will be teaming up together to take on Ricochet and a partner of his choosing. It's probably going to either be Will. It's probably going to be Will. Or it could be Mark Davis. Who knows? But Will Ospreay makes sense in the story that we are telling. But I am excited either way. Next up, Renee has a moment with Hangman Aggro Page, because we get this promo as Hangman addresses Jay White. He talks about Jay being knocked out of the Owen Hart tournament this past summer, and that Hangman is responsible for putting him out of action for 3 months. Hangman states that despite the record between them, Hangman will look to take Jay down and stand over a man who is hurt and having less than what he had before they faced off. And if it wasn't evident enough, we also got confirmation that Hangman versus Jay White 2 will be happening at Full Gear as well. And I'm like, oh, that match is going to be great. If it's anything like what we got at Wrestle Dream, I'm excited, because that match at Wrestle Dream was also very good.
Yeah. Would you want to see some sort of stipulation in part 2? Like cage match, tables and chairs.
So I would think, and follow me here, I think that this should still be a standard match. I think Hangman should win this one, and then the third one be a stipulation blow-off match. But again, that could change, because that is what happened at last year's Full Gear, where 2 weeks before Swerve and Hangman's match, we got the stipulation that it became a Texas death match. And that ended up being one of my favorite matches of 2023 last year.
Yep.
And I'm going to bring up Full Gear last year too, because commentary made an interesting point during the Chris and Camille match. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. She didn't get pinned in that match. What? Anyways, we'll talk about it when we get there. Mox's music hit, so BCC and crew are now in the building. Mox mostly talks about, Wheeler and how amazing Wheeler is. And Moxley, we all agree here, Wheeler is amazing. He's doing some of his best work in AEW so far with this. I love it. But, he answers Orange's promo and says that they will understand one day why they are doing what they're doing. Mox says that people think Orange challenged it for the championship, but he challenged Orange when he destroyed Chuck Taylor. So it's not even about the championship. Orange just wants revenge. And I mean, he can't. He cut off the distraction so Orange can focus on his goals. So I'm like, Moxley is basically cutting this promo in the same vein of, it's just like, I am the necessary evil, if you will.
Yep.
in order to make AEW better and to make it true. I was like, what in the third eye is this? What is happening? I was like, what is, this is crazy. But all this is going down.
I wanted to bring this up in Collision, but I'm going to bring it up now.
Okay.
Do you think that this is AEW creative, their odd way of taking all of the young AEW talent that started with AEW, like Private Party, Orange Cassidy, Daniel Garcia, all those guys, and giving them a push?
I think, and hear me out, I think this is AEW, not saying that they haven't been listening, but I think AEW is realizing and trying not to fall into the same pattern like a lot of wrestling companies do, especially when you have lots of veteran wrestlers in there and your big stars like Mox and Jericho, and I would even put Hangman and the Bucks and Kenny and Omega and all them. Like, they've been there from the very beginning. I think that for the longest time that AEW fans have been wanting to see pushes for a lot of people. Like, we wanted to see pushes for Willow. We wanted to see pushes for Acclaimed, Private Party, Daniel Garcia. So I think that AEW is using all these younger talent in the different faction on faction, like warfares, if you will, that is happening on Dynamite right now to kind of give them a push. And I also think that whatever changes are happening behind the scenes, I think AEW is also figuring out how to use and utilize their women's division better, because I don't have many complaints about the women's stuff we got this week. Now, granted, I always want to see more women and things like that, but I'm like, when we get to Collision, I want to chime in because I think the way that we built up Mariah and Anna Jay's match, which I knew Anna wasn't going to win, but I was like, this is actually a great filler feud for everybody. And this showcased both of them, but we'll talk about it in Collision. To answer your question, yes, I think AEW is listening to not only the fans, but also it's about time for a lot of these stars to finally get some pushes, especially when we talk about a certain tag team in a little bit. The fact they've been there since the company's inception and they have yet to get a championship run in 5 years is crazy.
Right.
So I'm excited. So again, all this is going down, but then they tease it because, we think Wheeler Yuta is about to get chair shotted again with the neck because Marina Shafir and Pac grab Wheeler, dropping him to his knees. Claudio brings out a chair. It's crazy. Orange runs down for the save, but it was a ruse to beat up Orange Cassidy. So Wheeler Yuta ends up joining the fray. Orange gets beat up, but then the Dark Order comes out of nowhere to try to even the odds to no avail.
Put that on your 2024 AEW bingo card. Dark Order for the rescue.
Dark Order to the rescue. Now it seems that they are going to be baby faces. We have finally picked a side for them. Thank you. That is all I wanted for this whole thing. And as the fighting is continued, Dark Order is trying their best to save Orange, but Dark Order and Orange are getting their ass beat. And then, a la Sting from the rafters, Darby Allin drops down. He gets on top of Claudio. They brawl. Darby is here. Everybody's fighting. Chaos is going around. Then Private Party come out of nowhere and start throwing down with everybody too. And then, the numbers are too much. So BCC and everybody scatter and gets out of dodge, if you will. So what's going to happen is this sets up a match where Darby and Orange will be taking on Pac, I believe, and Claudio Castagnoli in a match next week, which is going to be really good. And we're continuing. I'm interested to see if Orange tries to keep Darby out of the match to continue this I gotta do this alone story. We know that Orange is going to get his butt whooped at Full Gear. I still holding that Darby is going to be that person to kind of help Orange, or if not, take over to take down BCC and all that. But we'll talk about that later. But the Young Bucks don't get not the Young Bucks, Private Party don't get a break because despite all the chaos that happened, we just jumped straight into the match itself. They don't get a break. They don't get nothing because next, I still think this should have been the main event, but that's neither here nor there. But for the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, we have the Young Bucks versus Private Party with the stipulation that if Private Party lose, Zay and Quinn must break up as a tag team and Private Party is no more.
No.
I will say this. I really love the Bucks and Private Party at Wrestle Dream. This also blew me out of the water too. The Bucks were pulling, excuse my French, they were pulling shit out I have never seen before. I'm like, where's all of this? Like, holy crap. Like their own, like, especially towards the end when they had Quinn on the ropes and they did their own version of like the silly string and gin and juice. Like, that was amazing. There was a lot of false finishes. Isaiah Cassidy, homie, was carrying this team. Mark Quinn was getting in there with the close saves, which I love for the drama of it all. Isaiah Cassidy is like, I am not giving up. You're going to have to pull me out of a stretcher in order for me to leave this. I'm not going down without a fight. Mark and Isaiah fought with everything they had. Matthew and Nicholas were giving it everything they got too. And then opportunity arose itself towards the tail end of this match. The Bucks try to hit the TK driver. Isaiah hits a reverse poison Rana, followed by the gin and juice. 1, 2, 3. Your winners and new AEW World Tag Team Champions, Private Party. I kid you not. I was crying a little bit of tears of joy. I was like, yes, Private Party is finally won. Holy crap.
I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was too.
Stalking the Instagram for that update.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very good payoff. Like I said in our group text, it was a good payoff. I feel now. Well, I'm going to bring that up later. Because it goes with the announcement that they made in Collision. But yes. Yeah, no, I think that this has brought some positive light onto the AEW tag team division. So
what I loved even more too is that the Bucks grabbed the titles from Private Party, but only to place them on Zay and Quinn's shoulders as they exit the ring. They real recognizes real, and I was so happy that Private Party is our new tag champs. I was worried because I was like, Tony, please don't break up Private Party.
Yeah.
Don't break them up. Please no. Oh, I was not ready for it, but I am so happy. After a graphic promoting the AEW World Title match, which we talked about before, we get a face-to-face with Miss Daphne Jamie Hayter herself and Penelope Ford. They have a face down. Penelope runs down Jamie, who promises to mop the floor with her when they face off on Dynamite next week. I'm excited for Jamie versus Penelope next week. That match is going to be good. Jamie's going to get in the ring. I'm excited to see more Penelope now that she's back from injury. I've missed both of them so much, and I can't wait. We get a tail of the tape for our main event, which is going to be Swerve versus Shelton Benjamin later in the evening. Then, all right, let's just get through this. Hi, guys, because the learning tree is now on my television screen.
Yo.
And basically, this promo sets up a Fight Without Honor trios match next week against the Conglomeration. So it is going to be the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, the Bounty Hunter, Brian Keith, and Large William himself, Big Bill, taking on Kyle O'Reilly, Tomohiro Ishii, and Mark Briscoe. So for those of you who do not know what a Fight Without Honor match is, it's basically a no DQ match, but It's kind of like a lights out match, but ROH does the fight without honor matches. So anything's going to go, which means to tell me if it's anything like other DQ matches we've had with Jericho on Dynamite, it is going to be the safest thing I've ever seen in my life. Brian Keith and Big Large William are about to take the brunt of this.
Yeah, I do want to rewind this for a second because Robert Brown, you bring up a good point. It's interesting that they did not save Penelope for Jimmy Hayter until Full Gear.
That is also an interesting fact. That would be a potential women's match to have on Full Gear. And I'm wondering, so they're going to have their match next week. I'm wondering if some shenanigans goes down and we have to get a redo or it becomes a triple threat. Because, I mean, we are missing.
I'm hoping for.
I mean, we're missing a wild Saraya in this picture, and Saraya has beef with both Penelope and Jamie. So I would not be surprised. Yeah, she's incapacitated.
I think it's too early for either of them to fight each other and either of them to lose. They both just returned. So I'm hoping that at this match, they fight and then Saraya comes out and is like, surprise!
I'm not incapacitated.
I'm not incapacitated.
It is Dio, a.k.a. Saraya.
Yeah. It's me, Dio. You know, so the match ends by DQ because Saraya gets involved. But yeah, I think it would be better to like build something between them and then put it in Full Gear. I feel like this is too early.
Absolutely. In a weird way, I kind of hope shenanigans goes down, which means we get another women's match on Full Gear.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm super excited. But speaking of anime tropes and anime things, we cut backstage where Daniel Garcia grabs Jack Perry and pins him to the wall. And, you know, basically confronts Jack Perry for the Elite's lack of help against BCC. And before Jack Perry spitting the coldest line I've ever seen, you know, they used to dance for me too. I was like, oh, that is wild, Jack Perry. What is happening? You guys, the scapegoat is kind of growing on me. Like, he's kind of growing on me.
I told you, like, he's grown on me. Like,
weak, both of you.
But that wasn't the most interesting part. So obviously, and we're going to talk about it when we get to Collision, because they had another face-off down there, which I loved. But you guys, this story is getting wild because as Jack Perry enters, we see the Bucks and Brandon Cutler shredding documents. I was like, what's happening?
Right?
Like, I was like, what dirty secrets are we hiding? Like, what, shredding documents? Like, this is getting wild, and I'm kind of intrigued. I was like, this is intriguing. I actually kind of dig this now. I was like, Bucks, what are you hiding? Which we'll talk about them in a little bit.
Yeah,
it's definitely been, dare I say, long-term storytelling.
That's wild.
Wild.
So we'll talk about them a little bit later in the evening, but we get into our next match of the evening, which is Camille, the Brick House versus Wednesday Night Fever, Chris Statlander herself. The only complaints I have is this match was too short.
Of course.
Yeah. And most of it was in picture-in-picture, and that made me mad. I was like, Dynamite, we were doing so good. And then you messed it up. Yep. But this was still a really good match. Also, Camille looking like she belongs in Mortal Kombat. Listen, Nether Studios, if you do any collaborations with any wrestling promotions, I need a Camille skin in the next Mortal Kombat game. Like, she looks like she belongs in Mortal Kombat.
Yup.
She looks like a mix of Sindel and Miss Sonya Blade herself.
I think it was actually her ring gear was inspired by Sindel from Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
I had read that somewhere. So
let me find out Camille's a gamer and love her even more than I already do. But despite my complaint, this is a really good match. Chris Statlander turns it around out of nowhere to hit the Wednesday Night Fever and to pick up the win.
Right.
This did not sit right with Mercedes Moné because immediately she gets to the ring, she knocks out Chris. She yells at Camille to get to the back, And then Mercedes says on the microphone, you know, if you're going to take out anybody, you got to do it yourself, which all but confirms we're probably getting Chris versus Mercedes for the TBS championship at Full Gear, which I'm actually excited. We are actually doing a story for the TBS championship.
Right?
That's crazy.
Right?
It's great.
And I'm good with them. Chris Statlander getting this push. You know,
I am too. And this brings
happy
up the
she's
point
getting it.
that I said earlier. Commentary pointed out that the last time that Chris fought for the TBS championship was in that triple threat match at last year's Full Gear when it was her as champion taking on Sky Blue and Julia Hart.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Chris did not get pinned in that match.
No, she did not.
Julia pinned Sky, and Chris never got a rematch for that title. And then I'm like, hold up, wait a cherry picking minute. That's right. She never got a rematch for that title. That's crazy.
Which
And
then comes into question, had Julia Hart not hurt herself and been out, you know, would we have seen Chris Statlander wrestle for the TBS championship earlier? You know?
Probably. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Chris got it back. And then I would have loved to see Chris and Willow for this for the title. Like,
yeah,
Chris versus Willow for the title, and when Chris was the heel, would have been a fantastic match. But Julia had it. Julia got hurt. Willow beat her for it. Barely held on for it for a month, and then lost it to Mercedes at Double or Nothing. I still have my bones stick with Double or Nothing. But Chris versus Mercedes seems to be all but set for Full Gear, and I'm excited for it. We get a recap of the Christian Cage Hook drama that is happening. And then we are reminded, Christian Cage, he's going to explain himself next week. I was like, yeah, right. This story is getting weird for me. I was just like, first it was about who attacked Taz, and then Hook's involved. Kip Sabian is now on the side of Christian Cage for some reason.
Yep.
This is getting really weird.
Yep.
I will say, though, when we get to Collision, Nick Wayne is doing his own thing now, which kind of makes me excited in the umbrella of this. Yeah. And I'm super excited because it's involving one of the friends to the channel on here, which makes me excited. We'll talk about it when we get to Collision.
Yep.
Mark Briscoe fights back, cuts a cross promo against Jericho with the fight to Without Honor coming up. It's Mark Briscoe. I mean, enough said. Then we get into the final chapter of the Buckster this evening. They are in the parking lot. Alex Marvez and Christopher Daniels are trying to stop them as they leave. And then I saw Brandon Cutler come up just way too late. And I just sat here. I'm just like, I'm about to witness murder, aren't I? And sure enough, Pac is the best thing right now. He just pops up out of frame with this evil smile. He's like, hello, like from far away. And they all just eye Brandon Cutler, and Cutler knows Brandon is dead meat. He tries to run away. Christopher Daniels tries to intercept. Marina Shafir took the chain off the briefcase and is like breaking the wrist right now in a submission lock. And then we get the rubberiest of rubbery hammers, which I loved because it's camp. But Claudio Castagnoli proceeds to bust Brandon Cutler's hand onto the forklift. And Brandon Cutler is just agonizing pain. I was like, so this is giving me, if anyone has seen this anime, this is giving me very Paranoia Agent. The kid with the baseball bat just running around attacking people. This is BCC right now attacking everybody with hammers. And I love it. This is going to be great. But poor Brandon Cutler. He never stood a chance.
Nope. He never does. Never does.
But he's so good at that role, which is fantastic. So this is interesting because the Bucks clearly don't want to get involved with whatever was going on with the BCC situation. And now we have the first victim of the Elite post BCC beatdown, which means to tell me that Jack Perry, you better watch yourself because BCC is probably going to come after you next.
Yeah, and I had been wondering, as this storyline has progressed, when if BCC was, just going to be like another straight up heel and like not address the whole EVP thing and their whole faction, or if it was going to eventually get there. And we got there, and I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Well, actually, now that I think about it too, because they left Brandon, the Bucks left Jack, they also left Okada to fend for themselves.
Yep.
Poor man. Perry and Okada, I'm not too worried about, but the numbers game is going to be against them because they got to face all of Wheeler, Claudio, Pac, and Moxley. So it's just like, ooh, Okada and Jack Perry, you better watch out because your livelihood is on the line here. Because now it's pre-game. The Bucks are no longer there to help and protect you. So, poor Jack and Okada are getting it from BCC and the respective opponents of who we're setting up for everybody. This is going to get wild. But we get into our main event. Swerve Strickland, Swerve When I Drive, taking on Shelton Benjamin. This match was really good. I love this match. This was fun. Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting, not that I've forgotten, but like Shelton Benjamin to me never gets talked about of like good wrestlers who've been in this business for a long time. And Shelton Benjamin doesn't seem to lose a step anytime he gets into the ring. It's just so damn good. And then Swerve being Swerve. Of course, Swerve picks up the victory. This match was a lot of fun. This is not what we're here for because the real event happens afterwards. We see MVP get on the cell phone, make a phone call. The lights go out, and Bobby Lashley is now All Elite. Holy crap. I mean, we knew this was coming, but like to see Bobby Lashley in AEW makes me super excited. Him and Swerve have a stare down in the ring, and then the Hurt Syndicate, which is going to be MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley beat down Swerve and Nana as AEW Dynamite goes off the air. Dynamite, I give you an applause because this was a great episode. And it was by far probably one of the stronger Dynamites that has happened in the last couple of weeks. But we got lots of story progression, lots of things setting up for Full Gear. We are telling stories. They make sense for the most part. My only complaint was how short we gave Camille and Chris's match. But we got that. We're getting Penelope and Jamie next week on Dynamite. We're setting up some stuff. Dynamite, kudos, 10 out of 10. Like, well, maybe not 10 out of 10, but y'all did great. But now, I am done running my mouth and talking. So now, I'm going to tag in just the tip. And I am going to tag in Alice, hopefully, for Rampage. So, Alice, take it away. Tell the kids what went down on Rampage this week.
Okay. So, I wanted to just say one thing before we go into Rampage. It's almost like they actually have time to tell stories before a PLE, a Pay Live event, right? Because I think some of the other pay-per-views suffered because they were so close together and there wasn't time to tell the story. And here we're getting really good storytelling because I think we have the time to do this. So that's my 5 cents. Okay, Rampage. Woo! Okay, it's Friday night. Rampage. All right, we open up with LFI versus Beef, JD Drake, and the Butcher. This match started, and I looked at Adolfo and I went, man, it's a shame that these people are here just to get LFI a win. Like, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, we got like Beef lore last week. It was very exciting. And then now I feel like, well, never mind. Okay. And the Butcher's always losing too. Yeah, the poor man.
Ate that pin.
And he ate the pin. But I thought this was pretty effective. Again, showing how scary and effective the LFI is. La facción ingobernable. And Roosh gets the pin because, of course, he is the most fearsome, arguably. of the three. So this was okay. It was a good match. I thought JD Drake kind of was left in the ring a little bit too long.
A little too long.
But everybody did have their chance to shine, right? We got JD Drake and then Beef, and then there we go. And the Butcher. So they all three of them got to take their turns in the ring and get a little moment. Beef is so over with the crowd, man.
He's really over.
I every time Beef is involved in something, the whole crowd just goes wild, and I would like more of him. I don't know if it's just because his name is easy to say, or he
plays that off.
He
that
plays
lovable goofball.
Yeah. So give him something more. I would like.
Yeah.
But I know again we have a lot of stuff going on. We have a huge stacked roster, so I also understand that.
Yep.
Then we move to a interview backstage with Renee and Stokely. What are we doing with Stokely? What are we doing?
He's an instigator now.
He's an instigator walking around taking credit for the private party win. You hear that? You hear that? Those words came out of his mouth. He was like, I'm the reason private party won. Yep. Like, in what you okay, sure. All right. That made me upset. Yeah. Anyway, that ended.
that was pretty much it with that spot.
And next we got like the shortest match I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I was so stoked. The music hits, the vendetta across I'm screaming. Oh my gosh. It's Deonna Purrazzo. It's Taya Valkyrie. Yes. And they're outside for like what? 10 seconds?
About that.
Probably.
I mean, like, the outfits were giving. I'm so excited. And then it's over?
Yep.
Man. But what I did like was what happened right after. Because they're going back. And I'm like, dang, this match was nothing. And then there's Stokely.
Out of nowhere.
Like, being an instigator.
Being the instigator. He's like, well, all you do is eat meatballs and talk. I think you should go back out there and beat her up. And she did. This was great. I loved that. I want more of Stokely doing that and it working because that was just fabulous. I loved that so much. So Taya Valkyrie was versus Zoe Lynn for a very quick squash match. And it was fun to see Taya come back out and just wail on Zoe.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
And I really like how it seems like they're going to be leaning into that more aggressive Taya Valkyrie, which we've seen that aggressiveness in the past, but then when it was Johnny TV and Taya really coming to the ring and then being TV ready, it seemed like that aggressiveness kind of got pulled back a little bit. But now with Deonna Purrazzo, it's, Taya Valkyrie is there. And I mean this in a good way, is the attack dog, because even when they came out, when they came back out and Taya Valkyrie attacked Zoe Lynn,
Deonna
was the one that was like reined her back in.
Enough.
So that was, and I thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I really liked that. I dug that segment. It could have taken, the match could have been like a minute at least, but I did like what they did. That was super fun.
Yep.
Super fun. Okay. Then that leads us into a Queen Aminata versus Layla Gray match. I am loving that we're getting Layla Gray in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting. I'd love to see stuff from her. Queen Aminata did get the win by submission.
Yeah. We saw a different side of Queen Aminata in this match, and I am here for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love her stuff. She just continues to amaze and astound as she continues her career here with AEW.
Now, I will say one thing. I think it's time that we give Layla Gray a win.
I agree.
Because
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Yep.
Then we have Top Flight, Action Andretti, Aggro
Andretti, yep,
versus Dark Order.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, Mikey, Dark Order has made a decision. They are babyface. Top Flight, we're not sure what's happening. We're maybe going tweener, maybe going.
Well, Darius and Dante, right? Darius and Dante. So the real match here was Aggro Andretti pushing the Aggro Andretti thing because he kept using underhanded shenanigans against the Dark Order. You know, he pulled the tape off of not Johnny Hungy, not Evil Uno, not Silver. Mikey, help me. Who's the third person in Dark Order?
You wrote Silver.
It's Evil Uno, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds.
Alex Reynolds, that's who it is. Action Andretti, because Alex Reynolds had his ribs taped up from last week's shenanigans with the BCC, and Action Andretti like ripped those off, and he targeted those ribs and was really doing underhanded stuff. And then at the end, we did see Darius and Dante get in Action Andretti's face. So, that
interesting. Are we going to see a Leo Rush and Action Andretti departure from Darius and Dante?
Yep. And maybe them aligning themselves more with BCC. So
we'll just have to wait and see.
Right.
Find out next week on.
But no, we had our main event.
Which was Leo Rush versus Commander.
Yep. It was.
I love these high flying matches.
Yeah, it was a good match. It was a good main event for Rampage. It's really nothing to really write home about.
Stop talking smack about my show.
I mean, Commander gets the win.
You do it. It's your show now.
Go ahead. Here you go.
It's too late.
You have already done the damage. But yes, Commander does pick up the victory here.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was Rampage this week.
So for Collision.
Dang, Alice, just all the thunder, just the wind out of the sails. Well, you know what, Alice, you did a great job. A fantastic review of Rampage. I guess we'll throw it over to Adolfo now for Collision. I guess. No, I'm just kidding, because Collision was fire this week.
Yeah. Collision this week was very spot heavy, but I felt like the spots were not wasted. So perfect example, we start Collision off. Tony Schiavone, he calls out Private Party to the ring. The entire tag team division is out there, and they are having a private party. For a private party, dare I say?
I love all the face teams who are in the ring with Cheesecake serving as bouncer, and all the heels were like not allowed in the club. They were just hanging up on the ramp.
It was funny. So when Private Party gets in the ring, they say how they're still coming for the entire tag division. They get in FTR's face. There's a little bit of a scrum between Private Party and FTR, but who steps forward as the voice of reason but the Outrunners? Did you have that on your 2024 bingo card?
The Outrunners,
Outrunners
just
are the voice
so
of
good.
reason.
I love them so much.
Tell him, Turb.
Term. Yeah. So yeah, and that was it. It was, it was a fun little spot. But this does feed into a little announcement that we get later on. I totally thought BCC was going to be jumping in to break shit up, but it didn't happen. So it was very interesting. Next, we got to see Mariah May and Anna Jay walking in for the night's event. So that was interesting. And then after that, we get Renee with the Acclaimed. And it seems like there is a little friction going on with Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, because they're not, during the whole promo that they're
I was going to say
shooting,
the MVP card, right?
Yeah, that's
yes.
Max Caster still has the MVP card, and normally, when they do the whole everyone loves the Acclaim, they're like together on it, and they were like off sync. Caster kept like bumping Anthony Bowens out of the way, and Anthony kept bumping Caster out of the way. So it was interesting. We're feeding more into
Everyone
that
loves the Acclaimed?
question mark.
Big old question mark.
Yep. So then we go into our first match of the night, which is the Day of the Dead match versus Thunder Rosa and Thunder Harley Cameron. Thunder Harley Cameron in her
I loved this.
In her cat makeup.
This match ruled. I love this.
This
ruled.
This was a great match. Thunder Rosa.
This was a great match. I agree.
Steal his thunder.
Yes. So well, I'm gonna do this. Thunder Rosa ends up with the win by throwing the trash can on top of Harley, and then doing a torpedo kick into Harley, who's in the corner, and then pulling her out for the 1, 2, 3.
You're not even going to talk about the pinata?
Tell us
There was
about
a whole
the match.
pinata.
There's a whole pinata.
Tell us about the match.
So
That
this
thing got
match-
some use.
Oh my gosh, so good. This is one of those matches where it's pretty much like anything goes. You can do whatever you want. It was honestly better than some of the FTW matches we've seen.
For real.
Yeah.
For real. For
Just-
real.
Even the presentation, like
Yes.
when Thunder came out and she had like the lights were dimly lit, it's candle lit. We had a
And the
whole picture.
Brenda.
We had a whole picture of Harley Cameron that was about to be put on the Honda, signaling that Harley was going to die. This match rules. And, what Adolfo failed to mention is, yes, there was a drop kick where Harley was in the trash can, and then the wrestler did the drop kick on the trash can, but she had a whole entire table as a ramp to run up and then do the drop kick.
Yeah.
Correct. She ran up the table and
Yep. Yes, she did.
Oh,
Loved
this
it.
match rolled. I loved this.
Yep.
So
This
happy
match
Thunder
ruled.
won.
A lot of tossing into the scenery and the scenery breaking.
There was a fan who helped Thunder Rosa get her balance so she could walk on the
Yes.
barricade.
Those are the fans we love.
Yeah.
So it was very good match, very entertaining match. I kind of wished it was a little later on the card, but it was good. So next we had another spot where Lexi was with the Undisputed Kingdom and Roddy Strong. Roddy Strong on Collision was going to wrestle Shane Taylor, and Roddy Strong talks about how Shane Taylor is going to be the first win towards him facing MJF. And then we have Brian Cage and Lance Archer interrupting the whole thing. And there's a little bit of a scrum there, and Brian Cage and Lance Archer walk away, and we get the world famous, who are those Melvins?
I just need them to use the word Melvins again, because that is a
Yep.
word we don't hear that often, and I love that as an insult.
Yep. We then get our the stereotypical AEW upcoming show promo. which seems to be a staple now on Collision. But then my match of the night, where we have Commander versus new look protostar Kyle Fletcher. And damn, if Kyle Fletcher isn't giving off that rudo heat, I don't know who is. Kyle Fletcher does end up with the win by driving Commander headfirst into the turnbuckle for the 1-2-3. Mikey, give us your thoughts on this match.
This match ruled. I love this match a lot. That tombstone that Kyle Fletcher did on Commander, I was like, God, that thing is brutal. He just like,
Yep.
That got some height.
Yep.
You know, this was great. I love that even though in Los Commander got a lot of offense in, of course, you know, the crowd loves it when he walks the ropes and does flippy things. I love this.
Yep.
But I also love that we're continuing to build the Proto Star as this absolute just like no nonsense. I'm going to cave your head in kind of character where he's just going to brutalize his opponent. And I'm here for every single moment of it. I love this match too. And again, it perpetuates and it continues what we got on Dynamite because, Mark Davis is still not happy and shows up here too. So I'm like, this is good storytelling, AEW. Keep it up.
Yep. Yeah, you know, it was the first half of this match. Kyle Fletcher shut Commander's high flying down. So we got to see a different side of Commander. Like he was literally brawling for the first half of the match, and it was fun to watch. The other thing about this match that I thoroughly enjoyed is that it on paper, I was like, okay, Kyle Fletcher's gonna win. But throughout the match, I'm like, oh my God, is Kyle Fletcher gonna win? Because Commander got a lot of great near falls.
We love matches like that.
Yes. Yep. And Alex Abrahante, he got a big kick to the face. Did you want to add anything about this match?
No.
Okay. So Kyle Fletcher gets the 1-2-3. At the end of the match, we do get Mark Davis showing up. There's a little face-off between him and Kyle Fletcher, but Kyle Fletcher just walks off. And then this brings us to another spot where Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia face off again, except Daniel Garcia is now just talking to Jack Perry, the pretentious piece of trash, as Daniel Garcia called him. And that
I hope he uses that insult again.
Right.
A pretentious piece of trash.
And again, it's Daniel Garcia calling out
the scapegoat.
Yeah, the scapegoat for not standing in what he's gonna do, type thing. So
I need them in the ring. This is getting stale for me.
Yeah.
They're just kind of yelling at each other.
Right. I think we are going to get that match at Full Gear. Now, whether we get them in the ring beforehand, who knows? But I do want to see some physical confrontation, like them throwing hands or something to take it to the next chapter. We got 3 weeks. I need that because I think the match itself is going to be good when we get it at Full Gear. But I need them to start throwing hands.
Yep.
Yeah, because every time they're like fighting each other and they're like this close.
Yep.
Right. And I've yelled at the TV screen before. I'm like, just kiss already. Like, I mean, yeah.
So I'm like, punch him in the face, like spit on somebody. Like, what is
something?
Like, we need a fight to happen.
Yeah, there needs to be a fight because right now I feel like, is this, are we going to do enemies to lovers? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Which is also fine if that's the story we're telling.
Right.
So this takes us into our next match, which was The Machine, Brian Cage, a scruffy Brian.
He had hair. I was like,
right?
And his whole beard. I was like,
that showed up like overnight.
Of course, in real time, we've
He's
been
got
following
makeup artists. It was glued on.
I was like, Brian, who are you?
Right. And everyone's favorite, Lance Archer,
The Drew McIntyre
versus
ripoff from Wish.
yep, yep. Versus Sean Smith and Joe Keys is a squash match. That's it. The only interesting thing that happened was after the match when Brian Cage and Lance Archer continue beating on enhancement talent, and who comes out for the rescue? Undisputed Kingdom.
We've already had this discussion. They're turning face because Adam Cole came back as a face character, and they can't ignore that he was connected to them.
I didn't see this in my 2024.
Oh, come on.
Bingo card. No,
Something else I wasn't seeing either is once again Mr. Kyle O'Reilly.
Kyle O'Reilly
on,
watching,
but
and
he's not the only one that was watching.
Shane Taylor was watching as well. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. By the way, ROH is getting spicy again, you guys. Like that 3-hour episode, I was like, okay. Adolfo, do you know what happened with Shane Taylor Promotions on ROH this past week?
We'll talk about it later.
Yes, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yep.
Because it got spicy, but it also explained why a certain tag team was on the heel ramp with everybody else too.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. I needed that. So next we had Lexi Nair backstage with friend of the podcast, AR Fox. AR Fox.
We love AR. We love you so much, dude.
Yep. Great to see him on Collision getting some prime time. And then Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian appear and they step to him. So we're gonna be getting AR Fox versus Nick Wayne. I believe at Dynamite, was it?
I think so. I'm excited because Nick is kind of still underneath the umbrella of the patriarchy, but now we get to see him do more. AR Fox is getting more TV time, and I'm never gonna complain with AR Fox on my screen.
Yep.
So I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, this match is going to be really fun. Really, really fun.
But is Kip Sabian now friends with Nick Wayne? What happened?
That is it.
I'm hoping this is a whole long con, and he is like, it is I, Kip Sabian, who destroyed the patriarchy from the inside.
From the inside.
I would love for him to cost Christian Cage's cash in, and that would be amazing.
That would be awesome. So then we had a Friday Night Dynamite recap of Chris Statlander beating Camille and then getting snuck by Mercedes Moné, which then led into a Chris Statlander promo telling Mercedes Moné that she's coming for her and that title.
Good.
So,
take it.
I will say at the beginning of Chris's promo, it kind of seemed like she was reading off cue cards, but as the promo went on, she got better. So I'm not sure what the disconnect was at the beginning, but
the disconnect is they made her a baby face with no context.
Fair.
Right.
Fair.
She just finished beating Willow. I thought we were going to continue to get heel, but then we're just like, let's turn her baby face again.
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to continue the story of heel Chris Statlander, and then they were like, never mind, hard reboot.
It's crazy.
Yep. So then we get Jon Moxley and the BC Suicide Squad, whatever they're calling themselves.
Witchblade Conspiracy, whatever. Right.
Coming out. Nope. Jon Moxley not coming out to Wild Thing anymore. Really cool that the spot that he did, he was amongst the fans when he was doing it. He was talking Wheeler up, and they were in Philly. Should mention that because apparently Yuta came up from Philly, and who comes running in but Action Andretti.
Aggro
Andretti coming out saying that Yuta looks like he was straight out of Amish town off a horse.
Dang.
And buggy. Yeah. Which
we got to do better on these insults, bro.
Well, I thought it was pretty topical for where they were. But then Pac sneaks Action Andretti, and we get a surprise match where it's Pac versus Action Andretti.
He signed for a death wish and he got one.
He got one. Yep. As we thought what was going to happen, shenanigans ensue, which causes Pac to hit a brutalizer. submission hold on Action Andretti, and he knocks out Action Andretti. And then
Is this gonna be like, you know, how Action Andretti gets like inducted into the BCC though? Like
maybe
this is
that's what I was thinking.
You know, he's like being angry, and like then they fight, and they're like, all right. You actually did. Like, come on, you good peeps.
Yep.
You know, like
Yep. So then who comes in for the save but Orange Cassidy? Where before he says anything, he says "Go Birds,
go Birds!"
Yep. You know, up for that for the Philly fans, and starts hitting Wheeler with all sorts of psychological warfare. You remember when we were coming up here in Philly, we were on this street just over here. You slept on my couch, and Mox tells Wheeler to sick OC, and Wheeler hesitates, and then
are you gonna leave out the whole chair?
Well, that's what causes Wheeler to get destroyed at the end. Go ahead, talk about the chair.
Well, that's the whole deal, right? So Mox is like, go get him, and Wheeler's like, I don't really wanna, and then finally he goes and he grabs the chair, and then he tosses it over the barricade, and then hops over the barricade and definitely picks up a different chair, right, to go. And then he's like, I'm totally gonna hit you with this chair, Orange.
Nope. And he tosses
Orange is like, do it.
Orange grabs the chair, throws it on the ground, hits him with the super punch.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. Is that what it's called?
Orange.
Sure, why not?
Orange punch, yeah, something like that.
Orange,
whatever.
The orange juicer, I guess.
Yeah.
And
he's squeezed.
Freshly squeezed, Yuta. Right, and he's so. And then I thought, actually, because they all went after Orange Cassidy, but I was anticipating this didn't really happen, though. But I thought Black Cool Combat was going to grab Yuta and start beating him up for failing to attack Orange.
Yep. Which they did.
Stockholm
Which
syndrome
they
is
did
gonna
not.
be real.
I was very surprised.
Yep. Orange just sashayed on up and then
and John Moxley
back up sunglasses. Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, he had his back right. Because he took him off before he did the punch, and then he got up to the top, took out a backup pair of sunglasses, put them on. Get out the two pairs of sunglasses.
Yep.
But I felt like this was a weak showing for John Moxley, honestly. I really feel like he didn't really play the part of like a evil mob boss guy. Like, I really think he should have had a stronger leadership role in this spot. It didn't really hit for me very well. I also wanted them to let Marina Shafir run after Orange Cassidy.
Oh yeah, let's see.
Let's
Orange Cassidy.
I want to see that. That's fun.
Heck yeah.
But he was all kind of like, no.
Yeah.
Don't.
No. But yeah, so that was that. This led into the Malachi Black spot.
Oh, I love
where he calls out Adam Cole. Relics of an era bygone. Malachi Black dropping that poetry.
The person who put together that promo, the video edit, needs a raise because that was so good.
Yep. But this is calling out Adam Cole for the match coming up on Wednesday Night Dynamite.
This is why I don't think it's a given that Adam Cole's gonna win.
Yeah.
I would not be mad if he lost.
Yeah, there was some verbiage that Malachi Black used in there, like maybe I want you to be the one that retires me.
Yeah, I want you to be the one that wins. So but this is also like classic OG Malachi Black, where he's playing psychological games, right? So once they're in the ring, I don't know. I really think Malachi might come away with the win with this one.
Yep.
And I think that would be exciting because what kind of exciting story is that if like Adam Cole gets 3 in a row and then automatically is fighting MJF? Like,
that's fair.
There's no good payoff there. We want some some tension.
Yep. So then we get Leo Rush. No, I'm sorry. We get Lexi Nair backstage with Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher, to which they talk about Ricochet and the match that's happening on Wednesday Night Dynamite, where it's going to be Takeshita and Fletcher versus Ricochet. And as Kyle said, literally anyone else, I don't care. So yeah, it's going to be interesting who comes out with Ricochet on that one.
I'm with you, Mikey. I think it's either going to be Will Ospreay or the Aussie Open. What was his name?
Mark Davis.
Mark Davis.
Maybe it'll be Zack Sabre Jr.
Well,
Sorry.
okay. So, okay. Well, I mean,
Now we're opening this can of worms.
let's just do that anyways. I mean, yes, but that's like way too in advance. So to spoil what Adolfo is talking about, because, you know, he's a nerd of Japanese wrestling, because we watch all the wrestling here. Also, because he is, I may pull him for Wrestle Kingdom review in January. But
Yes.
Zack Sabre Jr., who is your current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, successfully defended his title over the weekend. And Ricochet made an appearance, attacked Zack Sabre Jr., and is going to be Zack versus Ricochet for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Dynasty in January. So the ROH, AEW, Stardom, CMLL, and New Japan crossover show. So
Gotcha.
that'd be crazy. But I think it's either going to be Will Ospreay or it's going to be Mark Davis. One of the two. It's going to be somebody that has ties to this whole entire story that we got going on.
Yep.
My money is on Will.
Yep. So this brings us to our next match, Leo Rush versus Ari Daivari. I mean, it was a good match. You know,
They cannot make me care about the premier athletes. That is all I have to say about that.
No. What they did,
But they can give my best friend a win.
Yep.
Yes.
What they can make me care about is how good Leo Rush looked in this match. He just kept like
he looks good in every match.
His agility and quickness were just on display.
I do love that. His agility is incredible.
It was so good. And Leo Rush comes away with the 1-2-3. Then brings us to competitor of promo of the year, where Lexi Nair is with the MXM collection and Johnny TV.
Jonathan Television.
And hey, Mikey, did you know that fashion saves more lives than doctors?
I did know this. That is crazy that people don't know this knowledge. This was such a stupid promo. I love this so much.
I loved it.
It was so
good.
So good. I was howling.
Yeah.
So funny.
Johnny TV does his thing and then he like just slides off camera.
He knows how to make an exit.
Yeah, so good.
The crowd popped when they did the elevator on the way down.
They did. Oh man, they did.
Holy
It's
crap.
because it's fabulous and they should.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see if we get an MXM Johnny TV trios run. That'd be fun.
Please do.
That'd be fun. A lot of fun. But yeah, next we got Roddy Strong versus Shane Taylor. Undisputed Kingdom comes out with Roddy Strong, and Tiger Style Lee Moriarty and the Infantry come out with Shane Taylor Productions. With Shane Taylor.
Oh.
Thank you, Mikey, for filling me in on why
I was like, and the infantry
came out with Shane Taylor.
So on this past week of ROH, this is where I'll quickly talk about it. Infantry was going up against Spanish Announce Project, so that is Angelico and Serpentico. Trish Adora was the one to make the first move because Shane Taylor Promotions has been talking with Infantry about, being serious and, getting together. And so Trish attacked Serpentico during the match, which then made, Mr. Carly Bravo and Sean Dean hit the switch and got more aggressive. They won the match on ROH. And so now this is now known as Shane Taylor Promotions, the Infantry. So now it is Shane, Tiger Style, Trish, and then the Infantry as this 5-person faction. I was like, yes, Black Excellence. We'd love to see that.
Yeah.
But that is why the Infantry was on the ramp with the rest of the heels, because technically they're heels now. I want to say they're more tweeners than anything, but they are more aggressive than before.
Yep. And we had MJF watching this match from his secret lair with mahogany furniture.
Oh, no masseuse this time?
No masseuse. Nope.
Crazy.
This
match fucking rules. I'm sorry.
This was my second favorite match of the night. This match was so good. This is the type of match that I want to see Shane Taylor wrestle all the time. It was fantastically performed. Shane Taylor played the immovable object so well. Like when Roddy had to go from rope to rope, and bounce and deliver a punch into him just to move him. It was so good. And seeing Roddy just like seeing Shane Taylor push Roddy for Roddy to use everything except the kitchen sink against Shane Taylor. It was just really cool. Really cool. Very interesting at the end, though. Do we think the ref botched the count? Do we think there was supposed to be one more kick out? What do we think happened there?
I mean, it might be a possibility, but I think the match ended the way that it needed to. I think we may have had one more sequence before we got to the finish, possibly. But I think either way, it still got the same result that we needed. Shane Taylor looking strong, Roddy getting the win. I think that's the important thing there. But I think maybe there might have been one more sequence before we got to the true finish of the match.
Yeah, because the ref he did a 1-2 and then pulled up like it was supposed to be a 1-2 ooh, and then all of a sudden like counted 1 2 3 really fast. So it was just just odd.
Yeah.
It was just odd, weird. But yeah, Roddy gets the 1 2 3 and he gets his first win towards MJF. Then we got another video package. This was the Friday Night Dynamite Swerve versus Shelton Benjamin with Bobby Lashley and the announcing of the Hurt Syndicate. Ooh, excuse me. And then blam. So now this is what I was talking about at the beginning, because now it's announced that leading up to Full Gear, we're getting a 4-way contender series where on next week's Collision, we're going to have the Outrunners versus Top Flight. Then next week's, or not this week's, but next week's Dynamite, we're going to get FTR versus House of Black. And then at the Collision Go Home show, we're going to get La Facción Ingobernable versus the Acclaimed. And then at Full Gear, we're going to be getting Private Party, I believe, defending their AEW Tag Team Championships in this 4-way
match. Yep.
In this 4-way match. So do we think Private Party winning the tag team match is that shot of revitalization that the AEW Tag Team division needed that we have been talking about? Or do we think that this is just kind of like a fluke?
So I have my thoughts. Alice, I'm gonna have you go first because I'm gonna take a lot longer, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
We talked about this in the car.
Yes, we did.
Stop talking to me about the men's tag team division. I don't care. Give me a women's tag team division. You have the people. You have the stacked roster. Put it together. And that by itself will revitalize the tag team division because it will make it more interesting. Do I love Private Party? Yes, I do love Private Party. Oh my gosh. But you also have a bunch of women who are just waiting in the wings to be on TV. Like, how long has it been since we saw Thunder Rosa? Why are we waiting so long? When's the last time we saw Serena Deeb? Yep. Where's DMD? Where are all these people? Yep. There are so many women that we could make a couple tag teams and have a division and have some tag team stuff happening. It's absolutely ridiculous that we're like pulling our hair out over these, like, I feel like millions of men's tag teams. So like do something else or throw the whole thing in the trash, right? And give me a women's tag team division. I'm tired of talking about this. I don't want to talk about this anymore. But sure, it's more because Private Party has the tag team belts. They have my attention for now.
Go ahead, Mike.
So this is where I come from. I agree with Alice to the fact that because it's Private Party who has these tag titles, I have a little bit more interest in it. My biggest critique of this title reign that we got from the Bucks is that no matter who went up against the Bucks, it never seemed like we were going to get somebody to take those titles off of them. And I mean, the men's division, and Alice, please don't hate me when I say this. Because the Bucks held the titles and, nobody wanted to see the Bucks as champions, they basically steamrolled through everybody who we had in this division. Now, we have a lot of men's tag teams and trios for that matter here, because Private Party is basically being like, hey, we're going to be about that action, so we going to face everybody. Do I think it's a little soon to do a fatal four-way? I think so, because again, they are pulling the same card they did last year, because remember, the tag titles were on the line last year in a ladder match. So, and that was a fatal four-way with FTR, LFI, House of Black, and I believe who were champions at that time. I'm trying to remember who were the champions at that time. I think it was the Bucks. No, it wasn't the Bucks. They didn't have the championships, but it was all of that going down. And I'm just like, if you give me the same teams as last year, I'm going to be kind of upset. And we are literally looking at this. Here's the thing. I think this fatal four-way is too soon. I think it's going to be fun. However, I'm pretty sure I know which three teams are winning the matches to get in. So as much as I love them, House of Black is going to win, but they were in the Full Gear fatal four-way for the tag titles last year. And I'm tired of seeing House of Black be thrown into these matches if they're not going to win. That's my big issue, number one. Number two, I think LFI is beating the Acclaim because we're teasing the Acclaim split up. But also, LFI was in the match last year too, that ladder match for the tag titles. Now, if you want to throw a whole monkey wrench into this, as much as I love Top Flight, I could see Top Flight getting in there. I would love to see the Outrunners win, which would be hilarious. That's the one match I'm disappointed in, because I feel bad for whoever loses, because I was like, man, why'd you got to put the Outrunners and Top Flight against each other? Like, I would have rather see Outrunners and Top Flight be in that match against the Private Party, and then maybe House of Black or FTR could get that spot, because then 3 out of the 4 of them are tag teams that we haven't really got a chance to, have a chance at this title run.
Yep.
So the problem is do I think the match is going to be great? Yes. But I can already tell FTR is probably going to get in that match. House of Black is going to be in there. And LFI is probably going to be in there too. And I'm like, that's literally the same lineup we got last year. Like, pull Swerve, not Strickland. Like, let's have Outrunners. Let's have, they're going to break out the Acclaim getting in there would be fun. Who's facing House of Black again?
FTR.
Damn. See, I'm going to go with House of Black. Like that, Brody and Buddy would be murdering fools left and right. I just wish that if you were going to do this fatal four-way, the stipulation should have been, it should be new tag teams. Like, how cool would it have been to have like a Top Flight versus an Outrunners versus MXM Collection versus Private Party? Or shoot, if you're going to throw in, have the Undisputed Kingdom like get a shot in there, because they are so wrapped up in this MJF Adam Cole stuff. I feel that we could have just had some up and coming tag teams. Let this be a showcase. This would be fun. All to say, because I talked for way too long, I'm excited for the match. The Fatal 4-Way is too soon. Let's get some new teams up in the mix. Is where I'm coming from.
I'm going to throw in another comment because I agree that the Fatal 4-Way is too soon. And I fear that they're writing themselves into a corner because if Private Party, right, if we're looking at revitalizing the tag team division and we've given Private Party the belts and then we have them crush 3 other tag teams, then it's not exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exciting. They've already beaten these people. So like, why am I going to care about them fighting with whoever else they just already crushed?
Right. If we were going to do a fatal 4-way, instead of it being a fatal 4-way, and again, even this is too soon, but I feel I would be more intrigued to have it be like, Private Party's like, hey, we're going to take on anybody and anyone and lay down the gauntlet, so to speak, and have a tag team gauntlet match at Full Gear. Have Private Party go up against teams to give them a shot. But again, Fatal 4-Way to me is too soon. If we were going to have them defend it, like, we could have just do a tournament to see who would be number 1 contenders for it. Like,
right.
And let that be a new tag team. Like, honestly, I would have given it to the Top Flight versus Private Party would be a really great match, because these are 2 teams that have been in AEW since day one, and one of them has finally got a tag team championship run. I'm still waiting on Top Flight to run too, and we could do a feud that way. Or, if you're wanting Private Party to look strong, but also put someone over, Outrunners versus Private Party, or even MXM Collection versus Private Party. I just want them to build a good feud for Private Party. We got the cool moment. They hit lightning in the bottle twice where the crowd so wanted Private Party to win and were on their feet when they did, like the Acclaim did 2-3 years ago at the same kind of similar vein. But let's build an actual feud for Private Party that does not involve with LOL, FTR, or House of Black are about to fight for these titles that they're not going to win. I'm just saying.
All right. So then we get a Mina Shirakawa video package. Mina is coming. Phrasing.
We want more of Mina.
Yep. Which then leads us into the Glamour Mariah May versus Anna Jay for the women's championship. Very good match again. Very strong match again. Anna Jay really looked like she pushed Mariah May to the limit. I thoroughly enjoyed that Queen Slayer into a reversal. That was really cool. Mariah May does end up with the 1-2-3 pin with the most electrifying move in sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. She retains. I do find it interesting that they had a Mina Shirakawa spot right before this match. Do we think that it is now time that we are going to be entering this portion of the Mariah May saga?
I think it's time. Now we get the beginning chapters of the downfall of Mariah and Mina's relationship.
Okay. Now, and are we sure it's going to be a downfall, or do we think that there might be then Toni Storm comes back, but then there's like a pivot and Mina stays with Mariah?
I don't think we should see Toni returned until, here's what I think. I think that if we don't get a championship match, then I think that Mina and Mariah should team up against somebody. They should team up against another team at Full Gear. But Mina the whole entire time is like, I don't like this Mariah and how she's fighting. Then we start to see some cracks begin to form. And then ultimately, if we want to, let's get Mina versus Mariah at World's End. And then we see the decimation of their friendship. Mariah goes on a crazy rampage. So no pun intended. Through January and February. And I would wait to have Toni versus Mariah too at Revolution. I'm not going to lie. I think Revolution in March is where we get the rematch between the two.
All right. And that's it. That is Collision.
Thank you, Adolfo. This was a really good week of AEW television.
Very
I'm
good
not
week.
even gonna lie. Holy crap, this was good.
Yeah.
I give this week a solid 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed almost everything that I saw. Of course, I have a couple of critiques.
Yep.
But I enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun.
Yep. I hope that they keep up with the NJ momentum. I hope that they don't just cycle her back and bury her. Because
I want her in the Vendetta. And also, Mikey, did
she
I
looks
hear you
amazing.
say women's tag team? What?
Yes. We have enough women
just
to do
saying.
factions and tag teams. Like, we have enough. Even if we're not, don't give me a women's tag team championship. Like, we already had too many titles in AEW. But you know, if they wanted to do something similar, like what's been going on in New Japan with the Super Juniors tag team championships, have a showcase where the winners can, I don't know, they each get a championship match of their choosing for the AEW World Women's Championship or the TBS Championship. And I'm just like, just have something different because we have a lot of women. Let's start utilizing them for reals. And again, that's what I hope happens. I think Mariah doesn't need to fight one-on-one at Full Gear against somebody, but have her team up with Mina. And then Mina's like, I don't like this Mariah. And then leading into World's End, it's like, the cracks are showing. Things are going to happen. Mariah hits a breaking point. They fight it out. Mariah's like, this is my friend. I love you. And destroy, like, Shawn Michaels, I love you. I'm sorry. Destroys her at World's End. And then we get Mariah going nutso for the next couple of months, and then Tony Storm returns, and then we get the rematch at Revolution. I hope that happens. Don't mess this up, AEW. But that is going to be it for us here at the All Elite Ensemble review. We will be back next week to review another exciting episode of AEW. This week is going to be really fun too. Tomorrow night, we have the Los Lobos de la Lucha review for CMLL, which was a fantastic show, which I loved, and I cannot wait to review it. Friday, we have our Ring of Honor review, and hopefully the trend from last week continues because it was the 3-hour episode last week, but all of it was good. By the way, shout out to Athena and Abaddon in the main event. That match was awesome for the Women's Championship. And then on Saturday, you can check myself and a few other folks as we do a watch along for the MLW and CMLL Lucha Apocalypto show, which is going to be fire. Oh my gosh, that card looks like a lot of fun.
I'm excited.
That main event is going to be so good. You have Titan, Místico, and one other person is going to be so good. But that's going to be it for us here. Make sure to follow us all over the social medias. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on the Twitch and wherever else you feel like following us. But for myself, you know, the youngest Alice alive and just Adolfo and the rest of the BC Wrestle Pod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you next week for another exciting episode of the All Elite Ensemble. But until then, remember, sayonara, adios, and we'll catch you next time.